everybody. Welcome to Houdini Hangout. It is the 18th of September, and I hope you're all doing great. My name's Peter. I am the host of our stream here, and hope you're pretty much into fall here in the northeastern U.S. Things are starting to change, and hope your fall is going well. And also, we just had a Houdini Hive up in Toronto, but it was a little bit of a different situation than we've done in times past. We had some workshops and presentations and things like that, and it was just a few blocks away from the headquarters. And then actually we had a bunch of presentations on the last day at the Side Effects offices, which was really cool. So you should be seeing, I'm guessing, some of those videos posted at some point in the not too distant future. But yeah, it was really great. We got to do some hands-on workshops with I want to say there was like between, 30 and 50 people in the workshops, and it was really great. Got to learn about a few different things there. Those won't be posted online, but I think there will be some videos that people will be posting related to those. But the other videos will all be posted online, and I think there's already a video that's been posted on the website, so it should be pretty cool. Should have a lot of good information coming from that. So yeah, looking forward to that. And sorry, just looking to make sure that all my stuff is working properly. It looks like it is. So it's been a couple weeks since we streamed, but hopefully we will get up to some cool stuff this evening. If you maybe saw the social media post somewhere, whatever social media site you maybe frequent, I posted a little quick, simple video of some NPR stuff, non-photorealistic rendering that I was playing around with. And I thought we would get into that this evening because I've had a few questions about it over the years, and I honestly never really had much of I never really knew what to do with that. But now we've got Copernicus, we've got Slap Comp, and we can maybe do some cool stuff and see what we can get into. I will say that it's a little bit, there are some tricky things with doing it, especially with volumes, like volumetric data. So that's something certainly to be mindful of. But I think we can get up to some pretty cool stuff, and we'll be able to kind of talk through that and see what kind of, if you guys have any thoughts too, we'll play around with some different things. But yeah, so that is going to be the idea for this evening. As always, if you guys have questions or thoughts or anything like that, feel free to drop those in the chat. Happy to, have any questions that you might have, brought up or whatnot. If you're looking to kind of further the conversation after the stream, feel free to hop over to houdinihangout.com, and you can get a Discord invite link over there. And I'm usually on there most of the week. Weekends are a little tough, but if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop them on there. I'm not the only person that's there either. There's plenty of people, and good place to talk to other people from, certainly from this community and just from the wider Houdini community in general. But lots of great information can be had there. So please feel free to grab an invite. It's free to join. No weird paywalls or anything like that. So that's kind of my standard disclaimer. Hope everybody's doing great. Literally, I haven't seen anything in the chat, so I think that's working, but I saw my message go in there. So hopefully chat is working and everybody's good. I know there's some people watching, so that's I'm just kind of like, okay, hopefully everybody's awake. Everybody's alive. But yeah, so let's do a little bit of Hey Shafiq, how's it going? We got one awake person. That's good. So here's a question. Maybe before we, this will actually be very pertinent, I think, to the conversation, and maybe Tom is jumping in to answer that right now. I'm awake too. Can you believe it? Yeah, Tom's here too. Oh, cool. Yeah, go for it, Tom. If Tom knows the answer is yes. There you go. Yeah, I know that there's a spot in the USD render ROP where you can specify the what, if you want to use a slap comp or whatever, and that's mainly going to be how we're going to be looking at this tonight, because I think honestly that's the most fun way of kind of doing this is with a slap comp kind of render. But I'm guessing there must be a spot in there where you can save that out separately. I'm guessing you might be able to do it as a pass, or I see. You need to make a custom AOV and output to that in the slap comp block. Cool. So right. So that, I think that hopefully makes sense. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit when we get to it. I've never done that before, so that maybe be an interesting thing to see if I can make it work tonight. But yeah, so there are some custom AOV things that I'm not a rendering person, as if anyone watches the stream, they should know that I am not particularly adept at rendering. But yeah, so we'll get into that tonight. But I learned a couple AOV things that actually Tom helped point me in kind of the right direction, and we together figured out a couple things that I wanted to play around with. But all right, enough talk. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, chat's always open, always happy to answer questions and talk about things, even if you feel like it might be taking us off track a little bit. Certainly if it's like a totally different topic than what we're talking about, I might stop and at a convenient location and maybe answer that question or talk about that a little bit more. Or I might just say, hey, that would be a great thing to talk about on Discord. But you can't, so Alexandru is saying, can't save it as a beauty and a separate product, right? Yeah, I think that sounds right. At the moment, I think saving multiple, I feel like saving it as multiple, like it's not a beauty pass, right? So I'm pretty sure that if you wanted to save it as like the main output from another, yeah, I'm not sure how you would go about doing it. Maybe there is a way, but I do not know the answer to that one. So, but maybe we can play around with that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we get into. But cool. Well, let's continue and let's jump over into Houdini and do some stuff. All right. So if you saw my, let's see here. Let's grab this. I'll just move this over here. Let's see. Where did I put that in here? So I made a little render here. We'll just show it real quick. It's nothing groundbreaking, but gives you a sense of what it is that we're going to be trying to do here. So all I did was take the standard pyro configure billowy smoke and just tried to make something out of it, right? To make it photorealistic in some way, or make it non-photorealistic, I should say, in some way. So really there's just a ramp and a few other simple things going on here. But after doing this, I found a couple other ways to play around with it, and we'll talk about that. We'll also maybe get into a little bit of maybe some other ways that you can think about doing some of these, like messing around with some of these techniques in AOVs and things like that, because that's mainly what goes into slap comp. So cool. All right. So that's what we're looking at. So let's do this. Let's just drop down a geometry node, and we're just going to make a really simple, we'll just say sim billowy smoke. This is just going to be the most simple thing ever because it's just going to be pyro configure billowy smoke. We'll drop that down. And that will pretty much be all we're going to be doing for this simulation. This is the billowy smoke simulation. So if you've never seen it before, it's really groundbreaking. It's a torus that emits smoke, billowy smoke. But obviously that's not what we're going to be using this for today. So let me just do a couple things here real quick. I'm just going to convert it to a VDB. I think that'll be a little easier for us to work with. Hello? What the heck just happened there? Okay. That's interesting. Huh. That is not good. Okay. Well, let me let's just see here. I'm just going to go back a daily build. Sorry about that. Looks like we have a little bug there. I don't know if that's just my machine or what it is, but I can't get that info panel to come up. So let's hit save, and I'll just close that. And we'll go back a daily build here. So one moment while we're installing here. Sorry about that. Didn't expect that. Just as we're sitting here and waiting for my install to go, one thing to note from today's release, although apparently there's some bugs in it, but going forward from today, if you, let's see here, bring this over. So if you look at this list here, if you look at this one right here, it says that there was some particle to grid changes for NPM, and you can see accelerations up to 230% on average. And this is benchmarked against the OpenCL issue. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's an OpenCL issue, but that's maybe, but I don't think it's OpenCL. But anyways, so if you're doing any NPM stuff, after 3.6.1, maybe 3.6.2, if we find that little bug there goes away. All right, let's see here, 360. You should see a decent speed up with NPM. So it's kind of fun, kind of exciting. But yeah, for now, we will we'll have to go with 360 because we're not doing any NPM, and yeah, be fine. All right. I also fixed the little thing here that was popping up every time. It was looking for Magic Bullet on my computer, and I was like, I don't have Magic Bullet. I haven't had that in years. And found out that if I installed it, started a new free trial, and then uninstalled it, everything was fine. So I don't know what that was, but Magic Bullet left some junk on my computer. So I undid it. Anyways, come on. What's going on here? Ooh. Slow to load. All right, there we go. All right, I'll reopen that file. There we go. Let's see. Are we good? Yep, all set. That's so weird. I feel like I used that on my other computer, so I don't really know. Anyways, yeah, we got VDBs on here. Don't think we need to add anything else. That should be fine. We'll use this to import over into Solaris. I do often like to, with Solaris, I like to just do this, solop network, and I think it's easier to go up and down like this. Just my weird preference. If don't have to do that, but all right. So let's do a SOP import. And let's grab from that location. So we'll just grab that render billowy smoke, bring that in. Cool. So that should be fine. It's going to come in and do its thing. Obviously, we're caching this at the same time as we're loading it in here to into Solaris. So let's just do something like that. Okay, great. We've got our smoke. So what we want to do is we want to do some sort of a kind of like a slap comp on this, right? We want to do something where we take in the data and put some sort of a comp over top of this finished image, right? And so I can just say merge it into the current one. So let's set up a few things here that'll be helpful for our render. So let's just do a let's see, maybe we'll do just a distant light. Could do a physical sky. I mean, it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Let's see here. So I think if we change, not that, is it M? Yep. I'll turn this a little bit so that where is our icon? Oh, it's inside of there. All right, so we'll just turn this a little bit. I'm actually going to just turn on Karma CPU so we can sort of see what's going on here. Maybe we'll do it that direction, actually. I'm just turning this in the world space. I'm just hitting M here. Oh, right. I don't have my little thing on. Let me turn that on. If you hit M, that'll change, what your handles are in. So I can just do that and get into world space, or like, the handle into world space, basically. Okay, cool. I actually did this originally with the physical sky, so maybe we'll try that too instead, because that actually does give a really nice look. So maybe we'll try that instead. We'll maybe play around with a few different things. Okay, cool. So let's actually do that instead. Physical sky, cool. All right, let's add in a camera. So I'll do this over the viewport and do camera. The reason I'm doing it over the viewport is it'll put a camera in that position. I think I'm going to put the camera down here, actually, just to kind of order this a little differently. So we'll do our lights and then our camera. What else do we need? Probably a karma, just a karma node. Add that in. Out of there. Okay, cool. So we've got our karma render settings. We've got our camera. Oh, probably a shader would be good. What we could do is just do this. Let's do quick cloud material. That should be good, I think. And let's do an assign material as well. And we're just going to drag and drop. So let's grab volume 0. We'll put that into the primitives, and we will grab our quick cloud material, throw that in here, and there we go. Now the other thing that might be a little different about this is, all right, there we go. Got our render going. The thing that might be a little well, it kind of depends on what we're going to do. Right now, we're just going to work with the beauty paths and manipulate that first. And then we'll get into some more like shader building and stuff like that, and like get in there and do some AOVs and things of that nature. But this is kind of cool. You get some nice light from it. We can also change the direction that this is in the sky, I believe, by just turning this azimuth. We can get it in different directions. I kind of like it from the back, actually. It's kind of where it was originally. That's kind of nice. So I think we'll leave that as is for right now. And yeah, so cool. So we've got all of this going. We've got our render. We're rendering it with CPU. So it's not going to be super fast. I'm doing that mainly to avoid hopefully any audio weirdness. If you do hear anything weird or something's going on weird with the stream, just let me know in the chat, because I'm doing this all on the same computer, so it can go weird sometimes. So anyways, great. So let's now start to talk about the Copernicus stuff. So let's do a comp network. There we go. So this render is just about done. That should give us a little bit of processing power back. Cool. All right. So it's a little noisy, but that's all right. Not a huge deal. So we've got our CopNet here, and I'm just going to call this slap comp. And let's go inside. So we've got an empty Copernicus network here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slap comp. Oops, sorry. It's all one word. That's interesting that those are spelled differently. Should probably make a note of that. So we're going to do the slap comp block. And what this is going to do is give us a slap comp, an import, slap comp import. That's a mouthful. Yay, cops. Hey, Graham, how's it going? So we're going to grab this import, and then this block is going to be where all of our slap comp is happening, right? And if we go down here, we can see here's our rendered image that we had from Karma, from the output from Karma. And you can see here that we have AOVs, right? And that's important because those are going to be the things that we're going to process and work with, right? So so right now, we're just going to mainly focus on the color pass, and then we'll go from there. We'll do some other stuff as well. I also don't want to see that background in there because I think that's going to do some, we really don't want the background included in there. So I think we'll get that out and do some other stuff with it. But so let's just jump back up here, and let's turn that off. Let's turn off render light geometry, and then you'll see that there's like sort of a background, but when we come over to the slap comp, we should see that is now transparent. So that's good. That's what we want to see. Cool. All right. So we've got our slap comp here. And if you want to go into, I think, let's see, go to 3 for the front view, and that'll get this into that front view for us. And we can see what's going on with our volume here. And let's maybe just do something super silly first. Maybe we'll just do a weird color thing with it. Yeah, let's just to see that things are working the way we want it to. So let's just maybe do this, something like a hue saturation. We'll do the source. There's the HSV adjust, and this is just going to be a little something to add into here. So we're just going to play around with this. Let's maybe do some extra saturation, maybe a hue shift. Can we mess with this at all? Sorry, I got to view that. That's why. I'm like, why is this not changing? It's because I'm not looking at stuff here. So, okay. So let's just go back to default. Let's do a saturation shift. Saturation scale, maybe. Cool. And then, sure, we'll just do a little something with it. Maybe get a little wacky hue shift here out of that. And if we now go up here, so we've got our slap comp set up. And if we come down here, we should be able to enable that. And now we have our slap comp enabled in the viewport. And this will follow any camera that we have here, right? So, or any view that, any view that we might have here. So this will update and do all that kind of stuff. So the slap comp is working on top of our output from Karma, right? So whatever render is getting passed into there directly with this button here. Now, there's only one. We've got this block end. And let's see, we'll go back to that camera view here. There we go. And maybe I'll just rename this here so we can just say, we'll just call this something like pyro NPR or something like that. Cool. And then when we come back up here, we should see that that change like that. So here you can see that's where we're looking at. And I think we can do this and it might jump to it. No. Okay, interesting. Anyways, all right. So we see that it's working now, and that's great. So now we can play around with this a little bit and start to get something going a little bit more interesting here. So let's go into our slap comp and let's take this out of here. So there, again, your view flag is going to be really important. And I think what I'm going to do is collapse this over and we'll just put the parameters in here. I think that's going to be a little easier to do for this because this is going to go left to right. And I have my thing set vertically right now. Okay, so we have this and let's do something like a remap because this was kind of what I was playing around with here. So let's bring this in and we'll bring in the source here and let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Remap. And right, nothing's happening here because I'm not remapping anything. I'm like, why am I not seeing anything change? All right, so what we want to do here is, yeah, we want to change. So you can actually change this ramp to different views like this. So we can change it to see it as like a grayscale, or we can see it as just like a straight, ramp. And this will obviously, do whatever you want it to like that. You can play around with it like that. But this is kind of neat to see because this gives you maybe a little better sense of what it is that we're doing here because we're remapping this with color, right? So I think that's a little bit more helpful. And also, excuse me, I'm going to do this as dark, I think. Makes more sense. Yep, because now we can actually see what it is we're doing. So let's get that out of there. All right, so what I did before, or in my test, was I basically just did this and changed these to constants. And now if we add constants in here, we're going to be able to get some actual, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of some thresholds for this, right? So we can get different values where these things are going to be brought in. So we can kind of, find where we want our highest value to be at here. Maybe these are down in this range. The other thing too is that we might want to change around where we're remapping these from too, right? Because this is going directly from this original image here, right? So with this image, we obviously have some fairly dark, values, and we don't really get up to very light values. So we might want to remap that a little first and then add the ramp in. Another thing we're probably going to want to do especially if we want this to be more of a, more of just a value versus, like a vector color type thing. We want to convert this to mono. So let's do that. We'll just type in mono. And we need RGBA to mono, and we'll do that right here. So now we should have a mono image, black and white. And now when we go to remap this, it should remap a lot nicer. We're not going to get those weird color values and stuff like that. We do see a lot of noise in here, which is something that you might want to adjust. But, totally your call, I guess, right? So we can do something like this, get some values there, and let's just kind of play around with this a little bit, get something sort of interesting going here. And oh yeah, that's right. I was already talking about redoing this, so remapping this. So let's do this. And I am going to actually reset this ramp and just leave it like that. We'll just kind of see where this is going to go because this is going to be like our levels, something like that in Photoshop. So let's grab that, see what's going on here. Okay, cool. And then that should be good. Yep, we can obviously play with that. We can get, crush a little bit of that in there. Cool. And now if we do this here, Yep. You're one step ahead of me, Tom. You're one step ahead of me. Yes. There's some really nice denoisers in here that'll help. And actually, I think gives it even a better NPR look because what we're getting here is certainly can start to get nice and like give us some good some good values and things like that. But the other thing I might want to do is grab the alpha channel from here. Actually, that's an interesting one. What would that be? Quantize. That's interesting too. Extract, is that what it is? Channel extract. Yes. I'm just trying to think of how to add that back into it. So what we're going to do is we'll set that automatically. You can extract this channel here, the alpha channel, and there we go. So that gives us our alpha channel. And then the question is, where do we go back here to? Okay, interesting. That's not what I would have thought. Channel join. Okay, cool. Anyways, that's kind of interesting. Okay, so what I guess we would do is do this. Grab these and put them in here. And then do another one. Oh. Nope, never mind. I'm stupid. Do that and then this. Okay, cool. So that would... Okay, thank you. What this would do is allow for... allow for you to have transparency then in the end with these without having the background kind of go all gray on you. Because if you look here and if we take this away, you know, say you want the lowest value to be like a gray, you'll run into some weirdness there. Why is that? Okay, that's interesting. Hey, Zach, how's it going? You'll have to pre-multiply. Okay. I see. So you're doing this, basically? After the join. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Okay. Again, I'm not a compositor, or I'm not someone that does this kind of stuff all that often. So, yep, no mask. Got it. Okay. So anyways, the reason I was saying that is because if you want this to be more, you know, like a gray like this, it's a little harder to get that, you know, we're getting the background colored as well, because this is coming in. The other thing that actually might be smarter there. No, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I guess this has to have, mono has to, anyways, sorry, just thinking through some stuff. Okay. What Tom was saying before was that there is this denoiser that's pretty nice. And we can actually use that over here if we wanted to and get some cleaner like setups here. So this is kind of nice because now we're going to kind of smooth out a lot of this stuff. You could also do that maybe with like a blur or something like that, but I find that the denoiser actually works a little bit nicer. So then you convert that to mono and get the remap in there. And now you've got these much nicer kind of breakups and things like that in here. So let's look at this over here. We can see what we've got going on. Yeah, maybe we do that. So we can obviously play around with this quite a bit and get some different looking results out of this. Now, the one thing I noticed is that I think if I think we'd have to do this and then reload the image maybe. No. So with this, it seems like we're not actually getting recooking very easily with it in this view. So if we come back over here, we'll see that this actually does recook in this view. All right. So, and obviously as the noise goes away from this render, you'll get kind of cleaner and cleaner edges in the slap comp overall. So you can see here that like whatever stage we're at, that's about as, as noisy or whatever as it's going to be. We could also use this to clean it up and get even, less noise in there. But, that's kind of a little thing that you can go in there. Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking. Graham was doing over. Yeah. Okay. So over. And then do the alpha as the mask. Yeah, let me see that there. Let me just see here real quick. I think this is what I was anticipating. Guess background. I guess we would do a. Oh, I see. Yep. Oops. And we would do this. Is there like a constant? Yep. Yep. Okay. That was sort of what I was thinking. I think more than the channel join thing, but I think that's more or less what I was anticipating. Anyways, yeah, it's really weird that that's like, oh, right. I should be using this. Duh. Right, because I added the denoise. I'm like, why is that so noisy there? So as we change the, what's going on here? Oh, cool. Interesting. Okay. That's fun. Ugh. This is, I guess, why I don't usually do rendering. All right. Right, RGBA the layer instead of mono. Yep. Gotcha. That makes sense. I did have autosave on, so let's see where that put us. Cops is save often. Yep. All right, so let's see where we were here. Okay, we're rendering, and we're rendering. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to try this. Probably going to get bit, but that's okay. We'll try it. See if this works. Let that compile. I'm going to just move that down there. Don't really need that at the moment. Okay, so let's go in here. What Graham was saying was, oh, interesting. So just if you notice there, and this actually might be why that slap comp freaked out. You may have noticed that this was a big square, and if I have this, I didn't. There is actually a place here to change a default resolution. So if I don't have a default resolution set, it's going to make this one this big square, and that. There we go. So that works, and then we can do a channel join here. I think that's what Graham was saying, just to be safe. So we just pipe this into each of them, leave the alpha, because the alpha is whatever. There's no alpha, so cool. Okay. So anyways, what I was saying is this here is going to take the resolution, the default resolution. So that's why I came up here and set this to 720. So I kind of wonder if that was part of the issue. It might not have been, but could have been. All right, I'm going to make sure this is wired here. That's important because then we get the right cutouts from that. There's our over. Yeah, I think I don't know. That seems to make more sense to me. Okay. Yeah. Yep. A reference, a size reference. Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. So you could do that as well. That's a little more explicit. So you could do that to specifically do that, but just setting this up here works as well, especially for more of like a global thing that you might want. Anyways, okay, so we've got that set up. Let's jump back up here, and we've got that rendering. Cool. It's really funny because I did not have any issues with this when I was not doing it on the stream. So that's really fun. I was doing this for probably a couple hours, but I am really pushing my computer right now. So that's really unfortunate. Let me just see what is all happening here. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You can put the reference in. That's cool. Now I just have to figure out why this keeps crashing. Something it's not liking. Okay. Sorry, just thinking if there's something I'm missing here. Let me just see if letting this finish will do anything better for us here. Okay, that's the right. wonder if it's this resolution here. No, that doesn't make sense. All right, I just have to figure out what's going on here. I did something dumb. Major user error here. Sorry. Give me a second. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up the one that I made that last thing with and just make sure everything's working there, because that worked fine. Did things a little different maybe, but let me see. That's the one. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I was playing with some other stuff here, but there's our slap comp. I was doing some other things as well. All right, let me just see if this works. Don't really see anything that's drastically different, but all right. Yep. That works. Interesting. Okay, so this is working for sure, but I kind of want to go back to the other thing and try it again real quick. So let's just leave this here for a second. I'll open up another Houdini and we'll try. Sorry about that. We'll be back on track momentarily. At least I know it's something not wrong with my computer. It's worked, slap comp and everything's working. Bum, bum, bum. It was, yeah, did not crash for me once. Did not crash for me once. Actually, you know what? Another thing I was kind of curious about. Did I change? I did enable compiling. Maybe that'd be a good idea. All right, let's try this again. Bum, bum, bum. I do not want it to start rendering if at all possible. Okay. Camera. Let's go back in here. Let's enable compiling. Don't know if that'll help. Actually, this can be mono to RGBA. I forgot that that's a thing. It's a much cleaner way of doing that, I think. The other thing you could do, I guess, would be you could do this first and then this. There's no reason to denoise all of the channels, I would say. And then yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to go back over here and take a look at how I did this remap. Yeah, that works too, I guess. It doesn't really need to be. Anyways, all right, let's do this. Let's get this guy rolling again. XPU. Let's turn that off. Let's come in here. And I think what you were saying, Graham, is if we do size reference here and do whatever, doesn't really matter, that. That should pick up the size reference. And then we can throw that into here, I think, is what you were saying. I think that makes sense. Yep. Cool. No need for the extra node. Oh, this? You can just do that, you're saying? Just put the input into the size ref. That's what I did. Okay. Well, whatever. If it's working, it's working. Great. All right. So there we go. Hit save. Let's jump up. There we go. So it looks like the compiling was probably a smart thing to have changed. Seems like that may have helped a little. All right. So there we go. Now we're getting some nice stuff going on here. Getting kind of that nice, non-photorealistic thing. The one thing that is a little funky about this, and actually I can't zoom in because that's going to re-render, but you do get this sort of odd behavior here a little bit. And I believe that's part of the denoiser. So yeah, you get a little bit of this weird kind of edge, but kind of cool. I don't know. Starting to do its thing. Okay, so that was one part that I was kind of playing around with, but we might also want to use other AOVs, right? So one thing that I was thinking was like, it's cool that this looks the way it does, right? And we can turn the light around and get it from different angles and different things like that. So like, whatever direction you want the light to come from, it's going to update, and adjust that based on, your different things there. I'm going to just come back in here and just adjust these levels a little bit, this remap, because I think we could do a little better here. So let's do this. And let's do that. Something like that, maybe. Oh, right. I still have this noisy output. Yeah, I guess we do want to have this over here, actually. Grab that. Still. There we go. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So there we go. We've got, too close. Back to our camera. So we've got some stuff going on there. But let's just say we wanted to have like our sun over on this direction again, right? And we wanted to have it like this, right? But if we look at it closely, we can see that there's some like billowing out maybe in different directions that we might want to accentuate a little bit, especially maybe when this gets a little further down the line here. Whoops, I turned off Karma Physical Sky, so that's kind of silly. just let it catch up to there. I think I cached the other one, so that was why it was able to jump around a little easier, but we just have to sim up to that frame 120. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm gonna lock the camera in so that when we move around, we've got the camera going. And let's just say we want to, I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of play with this a little bit, see what we can get up to. Yeah, so we've got this sort of highlight here, but maybe we want it to, I don't know, wrap around from the other side a little bit more. So I'm just gonna try to get this where I want it to be, which is like, sort of back. In fact, I'm just gonna turn that off. Probably be able to do this a little bit better. I'm gonna up the exposure a little bit here. And also I think I'm gonna turn the anisotropy down a little bit so it's not so transparent. Remember, we're actually working with these color values, right, to make this render. So let's just see here. Hello, welcome to the stream, John. Nice to have you. Just trying to get this from a nice direction here. Not sure I'm getting it exactly the way I want it to. Kind of just want it to be backlit a little bit like that. Yeah, that's kind of good because it looks like we should have, I'm just going to unlock this here. We should have some stuff coming out this direction. But if we look at it like this, it's going to be kind of darker over there. So let's try that, see what we get. And now that I've increased my, the the brightness, we're going to be going way too hard here. So let's just kind of tweak this a little bit. Cool. All right. So let's just say we wanted there to be more of a, like a forward, you know, seeing more of the highlight maybe of this geometry here. What I kind of was playing with, which I thought was kind of neat, I'll turn this off for a second. We can actually get some outputs here, right? So we can get image outputs, and let's grab something like a utility here, and let's do this in, let's see, could probably do like this. Like we could do the depth in camera space. That would maybe be helpful. We could do some depth with it. And let's come over here because the depth is going to be driven by this clipping range. So let's just kind of play around with that a little bit. We could sort of just leave that as is right now, and at least get our AOVs into our network here. But let's see. Let's do this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and say add AOVs from last render. Now we have our depth, which we actually had in here before anyways. But we can now use some of that information to drive this a little bit better. So let's just grab a remap here, maybe just as something that we can use to kind of play around with here. And there's our depth. We could obviously go, like, we could probably go with this with it and kind of adjust some of these values. Let's see here. Kind of get some depth out of it. Etch detect by depth. Interesting. That's an interesting idea. I like that. Like that idea, Tom. Like where you're coming. So you can play around with this remap here, or we could just go in and give this a much more reasonable range, right? We can do that there. We could also do something here. So if we know how far away the camera is, you know, we could just jump out of this for a second here and just look at sort of the world space if we wanted to, and just say, okay, so the camera's about, I don't know, 50. So we could say, oh, that's cool. We could try equalize. Nice. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, let's try that real quick. Equalize. It's an interesting idea. Actually throw this on here too to denoise the depth a little bit. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Ah, there we go. That's good. It's given us some nice stuff to work with there. Cool. John, you asked a question there. So for something like that, just that's kind of a little bit off topic for what we're doing tonight. I would definitely suggest going over to the Discord server. We'll do that again. Boom. There you go. I've actually done some stuff like that. Like a banner, and yeah, I think what I've done is just taken a simulation basically and rolled the geometry up to begin. Basically create the geometry one way and then have it, use like a bend stop and just have it roll up on itself. But yeah, we could talk a little bit more about that, on offline, however you want to say that. So this is kind of interesting. We're getting some of these shapes here that maybe we weren't getting before in this. And so what we could actually do now, let's see here. We'll just bring this down a little bit. Let's see here. Okay. So this is the remap that's taking all of that. So if we take these values and these values and merge them together or do something like that, we could get some interesting results from it. Now, the only thing I would say here is probably, can we do an invert here? This background is black, right? So is that going to work? Yeah, that should be fine. Or will it? Yeah, that could work. So what I was doing in the last example, let me just pull that up again here. So yeah, I was doing it a little bit different. I was using the world position, but it's the same difference. I see. I was doing it like so. All right, so I think what I was doing was on maximum. It's kind of interesting. Let's see if this works. Probably won't, but we'll see. We'll play around with some different modes here. This is just a blend node. So yeah, that's too hot. So let's see if we can pull this back a little here. So that was the original one, and if we add some of that in, let's see how that works. Like that. Cool. So what we're getting here is we can basically just take this depth map, right, and we can kind of play around with this, add some of that in, play around with those values and stuff. So that was what it looked like before. And if we wanted to add some of that depth in, just to make sure we were getting some more of the actual perspective of it and not just the lighting, we could use a little bit of that. Tom had an interesting thought here, the edge detect by depth. And that's kind of cool. So we can play around with that. I don't know if that'll actually do much, because we'll see. Yeah, we're getting somewhere here. So what we can do is play around with this a little bit and get some interesting stuff. So what this is doing, it looks like, is taking the depth information and detecting some edges based on that. And we can play around with, just play with the depth tolerance. Yep. So there we go. And actually what might make more sense is to throw this in here, maybe. And let's go back there. Yep. Yep, that's doing some nice stuff now. It looks like this is going to be very precise, like so. Cool. So the denoise is nice because it's going to give us a little less stuff to mess with there. And we can kind of play around with that almost as a smoothing step on top of it. So there we go. We've got that. The equalize is just doing, careful playing with line quality. Okay. Just keep it at 1. Oh, but that looks so yucky. Why do I need to be careful, Tom? I like it better like this. It looks so nice. Let's just do like 1.5. So yeah, so it looks like this depth tolerance will do some cool stuff here. It's going to give us some of these edges. Nice little ripply, billowy edges. And then let's see what we can do here. So maybe this will be a bit more interesting to do. Let's take this maximum out of here. So here's our remap, right, of this thing. Right. Samples at a higher resolution. But it doesn't seem like it's, I mean, I could slide it around and it didn't do much of anything, but double the pixels. Oh, that you're sampling or something? Gotcha. That's interesting. Thickness scale. Set it to 5 on a 4K image and the world explodes. Good. Well, I'm not doing that, so that's good. All right, so everybody else be careful, but I'm going to be reckless. I'm just going to be crazy and reckless. All right, so let's see what happens here. Yeah, I'll just leave that as is. Cool. All right, so I think what we'll do here is... We've got this. Let's do a... Now we can do an invert on this. Because I actually want those to be dark, I think, would be cool. So let's do that. Something like that. And a remap to kind of make those a little bit darker if we'd like. Because we might want them to be like so. Yep. And then if we put that into a multiply, I think on top of this, that should work. I think. I don't do much of this, so let's see here. Foreground, background. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's just fun. That's what that is. Cool. Very cool. So, whoa, geez, what did I do here? did something gross. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, so that's all together. Looking good. Let's hit save. Let's go back up here and see what we get. Let's throw this lap comp on. And there it is. We have it. I think, oh yeah, that's going to only go. Oh, interesting. Okay, it is pulling from this actual view camera. I was thinking, oh, it's only going to go from the camera here. Yeah, this looks really fun. This is doing some fun stuff. Big fan already. Hey, lock to my camera. That's what I said. Lock. Cool. That's pretty fun. Get some interesting little billowy things. And if you wanted that to be less, maybe less rough. Yeah, I agree, Shafiq. It does look cool. I'm happy with that. If you want it to be less rough, probably turning down that denoise step is going to help a lot. So like, for example, let's just go back here a little bit. Got this guy. It's like, hopefully everything's going fine over on the stream. Hopefully we're not getting weird, garbly nonsense happening. Okay, so we've got that there. That's looking cool. Let's do this. Let's come back in here, and if we played around with this, so that's an interesting question there. Cool VFX. I don't mind that being a little off topic. Now here, if you look at this, you can see how much this is changing kind of the look of this. Like adding a few in there, it's going to really make it nice, you know, give you a little more detail. If you do a lot, it's going to really smooth it out. So, you know, I think I had it at like 30 before. It's got a little noise, but not too crazy. Or maybe you do 5 and just give it a little bit like that. It's kind of cool too. Okay, so cool effects. You're asking about, you're asking between two different, yeah, so you're kind of asking about apples and oranges there, I'd say. Cool Effects is asking between a 9950X, which is a Ryzen 9 processor, and a 7980X, which is a Threadripper, the highest end Threadripper, and is incredibly expensive. What I would say is, like, what are you trying to do with it, right? Like, if you're trying to just do a little bit of everything, like you want a really high single thread speed and as high of a multi-core speed as you can. I know a ton of people that are in the VFX world that have 7950Xs and love them. A 9950X isn't that huge of an improvement over the 7950X, so I would almost suggest to not think too hard on that. Like maybe it's fine. Maybe it'll give you a little uptick in performance. Maybe the price is better, but yeah, sorry, you're asking a gearhead, so you can always bait me into these questions. But I would say, like, I'm on a Threadripper right now, an older series Threadripper, and I think it was a great purchase for me personally, just because I wanted to be able to do a little bit of everything, but I didn't go with the highest end one because I found it to just be prohibitively expensive for what you were actually, the return you were getting. I think if you were doing 100% CPU rendering, maybe it's worth it. Maybe you're doing a ton of like stuff that you really need to crank out and you don't have like a whole farm or whatever, then yeah, maybe that's the thing to do. Or maybe you get a few nodes instead. You know, you get a 9950X and make a couple small render boxes or whatever that would do that. So it kind of depends on what it is that you're talking about, and every program uses kind of everything differently. So it's kind of hard for me to say about Nuke or Mari, but Houdini has stuff that's single threaded and stuff that's multi-threaded. So you run into all sorts of different things. But anyways, there's my little 2 cents. Happy to debate that more on the Discord as well. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool. But maybe what we want to do is also get some sort of get some sort of like a bit of a different look going. So let's maybe try something a slight bit different here. So I'm going to put this back to the way it was before because I felt that that was a little bit more beneficial. So let's do that. Let's save again. Are we in autosave here? We are not. Thank goodness I looked. Okay, let's turn that off. So let's try something. Maybe we'll just grab one of the pyro, yeah, no problem. Cool effects. Welcome. Glad to help, or glad to give my 2 cents. Let's look at something that maybe would have like some glow or something like that to it, and we can kind of play around with that a little bit and see what we can get into there. So hopefully this so far has been interesting. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the chat, please. Happy to. Whoa. What did I just change there? I changed something. What the heck? What's happening here? How did that? Hello? Let's just try something here. Well, 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 what have I found here? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know what's going on there, but okay, that worked. And that didn't. Cool. Huh. Weird. Maybe I clicked something and didn't even realize it, but anyways, all right, we'll leave it in that mode. That's fine. Cool. Okay. So let's do that, and we'll do another thing here. We'll just call it smoke slab comp. All right, so let's do something a little different here. We've got our billowy smoke. Turn that off for right now. Let's add another geometry node, and we'll just grab sim, maybe like the bonfire one, or maybe we'll do some sort of explosion. I don't know. Grab one of these. Pyro configure. Let's just do the classic fireball. That's good enough. Just going to go back there. Let's sim a few frames here. Don't think this will need to be quite as long. Okay. So let's just do the same thing I did before. We'll just output, just convert that to a VDB. I think that, I don't know if it really matters, but I'm going to do it anyways. Cool. So we got the fireball there. All right. So let's go back over to, hello? There we go. Let's go back over to our Solaris setup, and I'm just going to kind of do something a little similar. I'm just going to grab this and we'll grab the fireball. And now the background's all fixed. That's so weird. That's so weird. What? Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Well, anyways. Hydra viewports. They're kind of strange sometimes. Okay, so we've got that. Let's see here. Let's do a material library for this. For this one, I'm actually going to use the Karma Pyro material. And that should be you're just asking about Karma, XPU and things like that. Yeah, I find XPU to be pretty good and quick. We'll put this material on here and we can start to see what this looks like. Assign the material here, pull this up. Oh, let's just call this Fireball. This is not the cleanest scene, but we're just going to do it quick. Oops. I want to rename this as well. We'll call this Fireball Shader. So yeah, I mean, I really do like XPU and the speeds and things like that it's able to do. I think it's quite nice. There is that. Let's see here, Fireball Shader. So let's do this maybe at like 10. We want the smoke to maybe be darker. And now this is actually where it might be better to, I'm just going to go back up here a second. I want to say, you might be able to get some better stuff out of here if you bake these into right, because this is just smoke and scatter. And let's see, bindings. We can bake the emission volume. Okay. Sorry, let me just go back in here and go into the shader. Oh, I need to have that up here. Sorry, forgetting things here. So we've got this emission volume here, which is CE right there. You can also see that down here. And just want to make sure that that's coming into Solaris. It is right there. Cool. And then in here, I think we might be able to just do, oops. Yeah, there we go. And then if we adjust this here, oops. Disable the fire. Increase that a little bit. Yeah. Just playing around a little bit with the color setups here, just to see what we might want. Let me change this background actually now just to total dark. I think that'll give us a better sense. Yep. There we go. So one thing to notice here is that out of these pyro shaders, you actually get a couple AOVs here. So we've got a scatter and a fire AOV that it automatically builds here. Now you can also, if you wanted to do something like where you were maybe grabbing something else from that, you could certainly use, let's see, karma, or actually I think it'd just be pyro. So there is a pyro smoke color, fire emission, things like that are sort of the building blocks of this pyro shader. And those have like, so smoke color has AOVs out on them as well. So that you could wire those into these AOVs. Now, in this case, it's not really going to give us anything different that we didn't have before. But yeah, it's might be kind of interesting to play around with that. And what I'm going to do is actually come up, I think, back up to here. Yeah, yep, well, I'm glad that the Mayan videos inspire you to do something. I mean, yeah, you can get in there and do it. Yeah, sometimes an old PC is it's not going to be too fun to work with, but yeah, I hear you. It's definitely fun to be able to do something, you know, a little different. Get in and play around with stuff. So, what I'm doing here is, since this is baking that that source, I'm just going to kind of play around with this and get this a little bit closer to where I want it to be. I don't want it to be quite so bright, basically. So I'm just trying to kind of play around with this a little bit. Oh, it's interesting. Karma physical sky contribution to cameras on. I think that's why you can't change the background. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why that was. Yeah, that could be it. All right, so I'm just gonna try that, see if that gets me a little closer to something that I like. Yep, I think that's a little bit more tamed down, and then we can obviously come in here and mess around with this scatter. A little bit like that. Ooh, some hot core. Sounds fun. What does this do? Tint with smoke color. That's kind of interesting. All right, so let's try the same thing here, but let's roll this through. Let's get this going through the slap comp now. Kind of the same thing we did before there. So let's do this. Got our shader here. We've got that. The assigned material. I don't think I'm actually going to add any lights to this. I think we'll just leave it like that and just render it out like this. So let's do a camera over here. Cool. And then we'll throw a karma down. What's the warning here? Yes. It's looking for camera 1. That's fine. We'll just change this up to camera 2. And all right, great. The only other thing I think we want to do here is go to image output, and let's see here. I think we want to grab an extra one. I don't think that'll show up in here, right? No, I don't think so. Okay. So let's call this Actually, sorry. I just want to see. Oh, they're already in there. Okay, cool. It did add those in already. So I think it's something in here. Yep. Reference material render vars into render products, maybe? I don't know. But with that inside of here, with these AOVs, there you go. Create render var. It just wasn't showing up for some reason when I looked before. But there's AOV fire, AOV scatter. That's great. Those are named. They're in there. Wonderful. So we'll use those in our slab comp. So let's just bring this down here. Let's do another cop network, and we'll kind of do something similar, but I'm going to maybe build this again from scratch, I think. Let's slide this up. Let's do a slab comp block. There's our render. And yeah, let's play around with some of those same things. So let's first do our, let's do RGB to mono, or sorry, RGBA to mono. Nope, not that either. I actually want to grab this denoise first, sorry. Thinking I want to go to mono, but I don't know why I was thinking that. So let's do this first, smooth this out a little bit. Let's go into, what is it, 3, the viewport? There we go. Let's smooth this out a little bit. Like so, that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll do like 20 on that. Just get a little bit of a less noisy thing there. We'll do a remap. Is it possible to touch on? Oh, yes. So as of right now, it's pretty tricky to do some of those things. There is one idea I have for it, and we'll talk about that maybe in a second here. But it definitely is tricky to get any of those things out of the volumetrics into Copernicus. You can get AOVs in here, which we'll take a look at in a second. For example, if we do this and add our AOVs, now we'll have our fire and our scatter in here as well. So those should be, let's see, I should be able to take something like RGB to mono and get that. So we have AOV, oops, sorry, not that one, scatter. And that should be our scattering value there, right? So we could use that to drive something if we wanted to. We could grab this denoise as well. Just denoise that. Something like that. So maybe, oh yeah, I think that was why I was thinking this, because we want to remap this and I'm just trying to think of how to do that exactly, because we want it to be colored. Do we have the ramp here, but that's just black and white. Color editor mono. Oh, right. We probably need to do that. Ramp? Oh, thank you. Sorry. I didn't realize that was even a thing. Thank you. What is the position though using UV? Convert to mono first. Okay. Interesting. Then you put that in like that. Huh. Hello, welcome. Oh, hey, Gabe. I think we actually, we met in Toronto. Nice to see you on the stream. Okay, so I'm missing something here. Mono to RGB. Okay. Tom's furiously typing because I'm doing something stupid. Yeah, see this, it's funny, like this is definitely something that this is somewhere where the workflow doesn't always make total sense to me, but that's okay. I do not know this stuff very well. I'm used to After Effects and things like that, so I've never done any node-based image editing, so this is always a little funky. That's weird. Huh. It's very strange because like our map. Plug mono 1 into mono to RGB. Okay. Get rid of the sorry, typo. Oh, get rid of that ramp. Okay. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm missing something fundamental here that I'm just not thinking through properly. Okay, so we've got this denoise image here. We've got our mono here, but I want to I see. Thank you. For some reason I was just ignoring this here. I'm so stupid. Thank you. Yes, that is what I need. All right, so we could do something like this. There we go. Wow, I did it, guys. My brain is working. Okay. That's sort of what I wanted. So let's do something like this, a constant, and we can play around with something here. So we'll do this. We'll maybe do that. Let's denoise that actually, because I want that to be a bit. I got there in the end. The horse, what is it? I don't know. I crossed the finish line. I finally made it. Yeah, so, all right. So for this, we actually don't really need the color, I guess, because we can just use, I'm curious if these are any different. So let's do RGBA to mono. See if that's any different here. I don't think there's really much difference there. Oh, there's a little bit actually. Okay, we'll use that. And then we'll use this down here for our glow source or whatever. So there's our mono. We'll denoise that guy as well. There we go. Okay. Cool. There's our splody thing. I'll just do something kind of funky like this. Cool. Okay, there's some interesting stuff going on there. I'm also going to set this to be compiled just to make sure. Hit save a few times. Can I do this? Probably could. Probably smarter to do this, I guess. Just make sure I'm explicitly doing. Oh. Well, that's even. Okay. That's an even better way of doing this. So if I do this, extract the channel from here and get the alpha, throw that in there, we're all good. Hooray. Everybody's happy. That was, I think, what I was trying to figure out how to do before, and I'm being dumb. So, okay, there we go. Now, what if instead, though, we wanted to... Oh, well, let's just see what this looks like. So we'll hit save. Let's go back up a level here, and there's our camera. Oops. Lock in to the camera, and let's turn on the slap comp. There we go. Pretty funky and cool. Now, what if we wanted to add some glow to this? So what I'm going to do is I think, ooh, wasn't happy about that now, was it? Ooh, am I out of memory? No. Okay, interesting. I think it just wasn't happy with. Okay. That's really weird. My card is not even close to its memory. That's very bizarre. I don't know what that's all about. All right. Huh. Got a slap. I'm in buffer hell. Yeah, it seems like it. Might need a restart. Okay. Well, let's do that then. Interesting. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. Or if I need a full computer restart, that might be where we end the stream. Because I can't keep streaming then. We'll see. It's really odd because Is everything okay with the stream? I'm really expecting someone to be like, oh, your stream's all screwed up or the audio's messed up or something. But nobody's said anything yet, so I'm pretty shocked. Disaster. Sorry, what did you say? Cool effects. Is there any way you can view CMP texture results? I'm not sure what that means, CMP texture results. For example, when you're tuning some ramps or noise in CMP. I'm not sure what CMP is. Ah, I see. Comp. Well, you can see it in that two. Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I am using up like all of my memory, so, or all of my resources, more or less. So let's see here. All right, let's go back. Give it a second to recache. I mean, like, so, cool VFX. You were just saying about the changing things in cops. But on shading mode. I'm guessing you mean if you're changing a texture in cops, can you see it in the viewport? Is that your question? Let me know if that's what you're asking. Because if it is, I think you can, just not in this specific instance. All right, let's see. Everything's off. Get input layer is missing. Okay. Okay. Things are happening. Okay. So we're getting somewhere here, I think. All right, so we've got this. We've got this. And I think what I'm going to do is we have a glue. So let's do this. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I think I see exactly what you're saying. So you're talking about, tuning stuff on shaders as you're like rendering and stuff like that. Yeah. I think there is live texture updates from cops over into the render scene and stuff like that. Like, so whether you're looking for it on the on an object or if you're looking for it in the render, I think it will update. There is also a way that you can preview it in cops too, like on objects. So that's something you could possibly do as well. Pulled out the glow. Oh yeah. Tom, I had to do it. I knew you wanted it. So let's do this, and let's see here. So we'll use that. There's our glue. Cool. All right. Let's see here. I'm just going to kind of play around with this a little bit. So you can imagine that you could have other like sources and things like that you could be feeding into your different AOVs and stuff like that. So maybe you would have some sort of secondary thing. I don't know. I'm not really thinking of anything in particular, but maybe you had fuel or something like that, or you had, the actual just fire source or something like that, like where, where the flames emitting or something like that, and the rest of it's just, you're getting a glow there. So you could add AOVs to some of these different situations and get some of that stuff out. In this case, obviously we get this, and we can use that to kind of drive where our glow's coming from. Without that, you get a bit of a different look here. Kind of looks at everything, and having the mask can really help kind of dial that in and keep it in a more reasonable spot. So let's hit save here. Let's turn that on, and now if we rotate around, we should see that we're getting that update. If we go back a little bit here, got it like so. And yeah, there we go. Oh, the only thing that's not great about this is that we are actually cutting off some of the edge, I bet. Sorry, just thinking about that. Because we're getting the alpha from that, so... Loved explosion style. Disco. Yeah, it's like a disco explosion. I'm just trying to think of how we might do this, because really what we'd want to do this is probably actually back here a step, I would think. Like this, and then do this. Can you animate parameters in... Oh, sorry. You know what I'm actually just thinking? That's actually stopping it. Oh, I was thinking of this differently. This is actually keeping it based on where this actually is. So yeah, you can animate parameters. As of right now, Copernicus doesn't really deal with like time in a way, like frame time, like that frames exist, whatever. But like, it has some weirdness with that, I think. But yeah, animating stuff in here is fine. We could certainly do that. Sorry, I'm just looking at this, and I was thinking the mask was going to be saying where we want to drive the glow from. But what it's actually doing is keeping the glow to be within those areas. So if I look at it like this, it's actually coming outside of it. And when I'm putting this on, it's actually masking it to those areas. I mean, it still works. I was kind of thinking of this separately. Maybe another way of doing this would be to take this, throw the glow on that, and then use that. Maybe tone this, change that a little bit. And then maybe we do an add on top of it. Something like that. And then we might there we go. Maybe something like that. But the problem is that's still going to cut it out. But anyways, you could play around with it, do a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to show you every single thing here. Edge detect. Yeah, you could do something like an edge detect there, right, on the glow too. I mean, maybe that'd be kind of cool. Let's see what that would look like. Whoa, that's funky. Wow, that's weird. I'm not sure what you're suggesting to use the alpha with, but that's okay. Kind of wonder what this will do. I don't know what all these things do. There you go. That's kind of cool. Get a little bit of that. And you could like glow that. Maybe. Yeah. Could do all sorts of stuff with it. You know? Pretty funky. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Sources RGBA, grab the alpha, edge detect for a halo around the. Yep. Gotcha. It's up there now. But I think you get the idea. I could sit here and poke around and play with a bunch of things all night, but hopefully this makes sense and gives you some ideas to play around with things a little bit more. I guess always a good idea to compile those slap comps, maybe. Maybe that's only if you're streaming and doing this all at the same time. But the compiling seemed to have solved a lot of the issues here and made for a much more stable situation. But lots of interesting things to think about here. Certainly doing a lot of these NPR things on actual geometry is a bit easier as well. It's a dream of mine to teach the lighting team and not bother the comp team. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly this certainly opens up a bunch of interesting avenues for what you can do here. And I think the other thing to consider is that this. I lost my train of thought. Wow, I don't have that happen too often on here, but there's a lot of opportunities here on geometry itself. You could way more easily do some NPR stuff. I think Tom's done a bunch of really cool NPR things for the content library, and so take a look at those. You can see those in there, and I think give you a sense for how you can do that with solid geometry. I think there's still some work on our end to be done with volumes and getting things maybe more easily in here or whatever. This is step one, right? It's day one, Copernicus. So there's certainly things that don't exist here. It's not a compositor, as Jeff Lade has said a million times to all of us, but it certainly can do some cool stuff. And I think if you start to look at some of these ideas and take them and play with them and kind of tweak them in some interesting ways, you might get some really cool results out of it and be able to do some NPR stuff in ways that weren't really as easily accessible in the past with this sort of overlay technique, right? I mean, we're going from that to that. It's kind of cool to see how much you can actually take these things and really tweak them and dial them into some different looks and stuff like that. So, all right. Well, I think that's where we're going to end the stream for this evening. It's been a couple hours, so I think that's good enough place as any to call it a night. I really liked how this cloud turned out over here. You don't need comp at all. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe you need some comp, but yeah, maybe less. Let's see here. Where is our camera? There we go. Just want to look at this again because I think this one turned out pretty cool. I liked this. Oh, right. Wrong one. Got to switch my slab comp. There we go. And there it is. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. What were you saying? That the physical sky was adjusting that or something? It's really odd. What did he say? Somebody made a contribution to camera is on. Sky. Maybe it's that. Anyways, doesn't matter. It looks cool. Happy with it. It's a neat looking little cloud render there. So yeah, anyways, oh yeah, no problem. My current GPU is a 3090. So last generation graphics card, but works pretty well. Not too bad. Right. So, well, thank you everybody for joining. Thanks for everybody sticking with me while I'm poking around at things and kind of learning myself a little bit. Really excited about how that cloud turned out. It actually turned out better than what I was thinking it would. So it got some cool things in there with the edge detect and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Tom, for the suggestion. Thank you everybody in the chat for your contributions. Like I always say, it's much better to have lots of people in here telling me what I'm doing wrong and figure out some better ways of doing things and making some more interesting stuff. And yeah, sorry for, man, sometimes my brain just can't think about how this new Copernicus workflow works. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, hopefully we'll all have some interesting new insight into some non-photorealistic stuff and some interesting thoughts for the future. If you run into stuff that you're like, oh, this should really be this way or anything like that, you can always make a little RFE for that. I'm sure the developers would be quite interested to hear what, ideas people have for, different ways to do some of these things, and maybe what some other renderers have that would be nice to have, or other, things other workflows that you're used to or have ideas from. So we're always open to those suggestions. So, yeah, thank you all so much for joining. And I should be here next week. I don't think there's anything stopping me from doing that. But as always, keep an eye out for the slicing jelly. Yeah, don't hesitate to RFE. You might just send it to Tom. Maybe not. I don't know what Tom's up to right now. But anyways, yeah, so if you have suggestions for next week's stream or any other streams, please feel free to join the Discord. There is a topics section there that you can add in your suggestions. And that was actually where I kind of got the idea to do this stream, because there was some questions for things like that probably a while ago actually now. But I really never had a good way of doing things like that, because I've never really been a shader builder. So now doing it this way feels a little bit more, I don't know. It feels a little more simple, but also like more doable for me. So hopefully it kind of ticks that box for some of you that were asking for that. But yeah, so if you have suggestions, like ideas for maybe messing around with different things. Maybe it's an NPM thing next time. I don't know. But if you have suggestions, throw them in there. I'm always curious to see what people are interested in. But that is it for this evening. Thank you all so much for joining, and I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Good night.